Excellent. Okay, now, and you got to move your finger. It's on the volume. Good. Well, tonight's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be exploring how to change your perception and change your mind. Now, wouldn't it be cool if you could like have full dynamic life? But what's your potential? And this, I just came back from Chicago, and I was actually trying to explain to the doctors back there, what's your potential? And when you go and you approach a patient, your prejudiceness is going to affect that patient's outcome. So like if you see somebody in a wheelchair with some ridiculous diagnosis, you're going to already in your mind have a preconceived notion of what their outcome is going to be. Plus if you can change your outcome, like let's say you got a diagnosis of cancer or this or that, if you fall into that belief system, then your outcome is going to be similar as well. So we're going to change this. Now, it's interesting. What I like about traveling is I get a chance to read. And I don't know if you've ever read the Shackleton expedition, but, we're talking about changing our thoughts. Imagine if it was 1914, you set off on a little tiny journey, and, it's going to be 120 days. You're going to be the first people to cross Antarctica. So you get the ship down there. It gets surrounded by this ice 100 miles from land. The ship gets trapped, explodes, just breaks up, okay, and you're stuck with all these guys, just enough supplies to last 120 days. Sound like a fun, comfortable, relaxed? No, they had deerskin sleeping bags. They didn't have, the modern equipment that we have today. So now, it's interesting. I like his advertisement. Because when we talk about changing our perception, changing our thought when it comes to health and disease and everything else, how would you like to answer an ad like this? Wanted men for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return, doubtful, honor and recognition if we succeed. Okay, I'm there. Well, what's interesting, when the ship, imagine you're 100 miles from land. You're on a mobile ice floe. The ship is destroyed. Darkness is coming in. You have absolutely no hopes of rescue. This is pre-airplane, there's pre-helicopter, way pre-cell phone. You're it. Okay, this is the surface of the moon stuff. Now, it's interesting because at the similar time, there was a similar expedition in the Arctic. And virtually everybody in that group died. Everybody in this group lived. Now, Shackleton, who was the leader of this expedition, he knew that to control your thoughts, to master your personal outcome, okay, started with your thoughts. He actually told all the men that you could take 2 pounds of something personal because they had to haul it in these boats and everything else. And so what he did in front of the group, he took out some gold sovereigns and a gold cigarette case and threw it in the snow. Not going to eat gold. Okay. But what he found, and this is really cool because I'm reading this and it's a book about business and leadership, but I started to correlate it with health. And think about this. If you cultivate optimism in yourself, so when you got that diagnosis of arthritis or disease or dementia or cancer or AIDS or, whatever, stay grounded in reality. So yes, the test did come out positive or not. Be aware of your self-talk. Now, how many people self-talk? Okay, those that didn't raise their hand, you're already talking to yourself saying, no, I don't self-talk. I don't self-talk. Everybody does. Okay. You got to find an outlet because if you're diagnosed with something or you have a health challenge, you're going to come up with hits. You know what Rocky said? It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. Okay, let go of guilt. Now, has anybody in here started a business, started a relationship, started anything and have it fail because of your fault? Oh, no, not you, it was the other person's. Yeah, okay, I know. Okay, so you can carry this burden throughout your entire life, and it's going to negatively affect you for your entire life. So what's interesting, here you are, You hired these men. You took them thousands of miles south. Your mission was stopped 100 miles from land. You're on a mobile ice floe. The ship is gone. Do you go out and say, guys, I screwed up, man. Looks like we're all going to die? No. He took away from that guilt, okay, that he could have held on, that would have wiped out the entire crew. And what he did is he started to set short-term, long-term goals, short-term advances. Now, they originally had planned to haul these massive lifeboats over this incredibly jagged peak. Okay, they had 350 miles to haul it over to this one island on jagged, rough ice. And he figured, well, you know, if we do 5 to 10 miles a day, we ought to be fine. After 12 hours of hacking through the ice, they made it less than a mile. So they had to abandon that plan. So it's just, I'm bringing this up because if he was in such dire straits and was able to change his perception, do you think that we could change our perception if we have some type of diagnosis or loss? So now, what kind of challenges do we come up with in life? Okay, and I started to play around with this. So pain. So you got physical pain, chronic pain, emotional pain. You know, if you've ever lost a family member or a loved one or a relationship, or what if you have this pain that's been with you since you were a teenager? Or, you know, I mean, just devastating stuff. Then you look at loss. Okay, loss of a relationship, loss of a loved one, loss of a business, loss of a job, loss of a limb. Okay, I mean, when I was hit by a car, I thought I was never going to be able to walk or run or play. Fear. And I heard this one brilliant man. He says, fear and worry, it's like prepaying for something that's never going to happen. Okay, so it's not efficient. Okay, but false expectations appearing real because it really is happening in our mind. And then disease. Disease doesn't really exist. And I know I've gotten in trouble because all these people say, no, I have this disease. I have fibromyalgia. I have this. And I say, well, you know, your test may have been positive. You may categorize yourself in those symptoms, but the people in the same circumstance recover. So, you know, it's frustrating too because the doctor will go in there and they'll say, yes, you have 6 months to live. Patients are really nice. They typically comply. Okay? However, if you change that perception, you know, this disease has a 70% death rate. The doctor doesn't know if you're in that 30% live rate, okay? You know, in that live category. So disease is a belief system. Diabetes is curable within about 30 to 45 days. It's type 2 diabetes. Most cancers are curable. I mean, when you look at this stuff, disease is a belief system. Okay, so you can't buy into this. Now, this gal here, thank God she didn't buy into this belief system. That kid wouldn't be alive. She comes in here, a 3-month-old fetus and a tumor the size of a grapefruit. Okay, so the doctors gave her 2 options. We abort the kid, kill your child. Okay, and she's Catholic, so she had a problem with that. And we'd remove the tumor, or we remove the tumor and the kid's going to be born deformed. Okay, so she's given two options for there. Which option did she choose? Option 3. Okay, she chose none of the above. Okay, she comes in here, we get her body working correctly and it wipes out the tumor and she has the kid. Kid is born no tumor. So did she buy into that belief system of disease? Did she buy into the belief system that she had a tumor? Did she buy into that belief system, or did she change her perception of the reality? Okay, you know, totally different. So we know, Dr. Bruce Lipton, we talk about you're not a slave to your DNA. You are a slave to your perceptions. You can think yourself well and think yourself sick because thought can actually change the receptor sites on a cell. Well, I mean, if you boil this down, thoughts can change protein production. Okay, if you were all scientists, you'd be going, wow, it can change protein production? I'm sorry, let me explain it. If you could produce cells that'll eliminate cancer from your body forever, that's a good protein, huh? Or you can produce proteins that actually form cancer cells. That's a bad one. So you can think yourself sick or think yourself well. We know this now. And now here's huge, because a lot of people say they have this victim mentality. And even on the entrance form, the form that I have, that all the new patients fill out, at the bottom of all the symptoms, so, get someone putting their name and their address and everything else, and then they write down, neck pain, back pain, high blood pressure, all the symptoms. At the bottom of that, I put, do you want to get better? Okay, I really did. I mean, there's a lot of my patients here. Maybe you don't even remember that part because it just seems so ridiculous. If I didn't want to get better, I wouldn't be here. Okay, why are you even putting that in? And I've had patients say that. Do you realize that there's not a month that goes by that I don't get a patient in here that puts no? Because they don't think they can. Or they've owned the disease. I've been so scared my whole life. I've had joint pain and aches and this, and finally the doctor gave me a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. So you own it. Okay, so now here, you can't control the event. You can't control the positive blood test, the person leaving, the relative dying. You can't control that. You can't control your response. And that radically alters the outcome. Okay, I couldn't control me getting hit by a car. My response, though, was to learn how the body heals, and coolness, I became a chiropractor. Okay, so you can't control the divorce. Okay, but neat, because he or she wasn't right for you in the first place, and then you met that fantastic guy from England. Okay, so know that you cannot control the event, but the response is absolutely in your control. It's interesting. I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and he was saying some people have absolutely mastered their emotions. They can be negative all the time, beyond every circumstance. Okay, and you start thinking about this, and you think, wait a second. How many people do you know like this? You do know people like that. I mean, I go to the supermarket, and they say, how you doing? I say, oh, man, fantastic. They step back. No, I don't usually hear that. I said, well, God, I'm breathing. I'm vertical. What could be cooler? But it's more comfortable to be bland, or more comfortable to identify with misery. And that's one of the tough parts. But how do you feed your brain? Because if you're feeding your brain at nighttime and you're programming your brain with negativity, okay, if you're actually watching the news and think it's actual news, okay, because did you see the shooting yesterday? Yeah. Or the bank robbery or the burning? No. I haven't watched the news. I'm guessing. No. Why? Because there's always a shooting or a bank robbery, a burning, or something else. Did you know that there were over 500,000 random acts of kindness in just LA alone? Wow. There were probably over 500,000 doors open for women. I actually let an older gal, because I was buying coconuts at the store, I let her go in front of me. She had just one package, and I had a whole cart full of coconuts. And she thanked me. Yeah. I ran home at the news, I turned it on, I was expecting to see random act of kindness in Asian supermarket. I didn't see it. So the news, it's not right. Okay, good news doesn't, if they play it in equal play, so watch what you're filling your brain. And you can change your perception. Okay, this is huge. When I put stop lying to yourself, you got to break through limiting beliefs. Thoughts are like a radio channel. Okay, and you can go to 91.5 where you listen to classic music. You get a 92.3 the beat. Oh my gosh. Well, it's the same thing with thoughts. If you're filling your thought, okay, say it with me. Ah. Or, ah. Okay, so what are you putting in your brain? Okay, because that's going to absolutely radically affect your outcome. But knowing that you can change that, knowing that is incredible. Now, this is how you're going to change your channel. Self-talk is huge. If you start off with, this pain is killing me, okay, it will. It will. You're going to achieve your goal. That pain is absolutely going to kill you. If you say this hurts really bad, I'm going to agree with you. Because I'll get people in here in absolute agony, in wheelchairs and walkers. And if they say the pain's killing them, I'll say, no, it's not. I said, it hurts really bad. Let's fix it. Because if that pain remains there, your systems are going to be affected. But that pain isn't killing you. It's a clue by your body that there's a problem. She never listens. Okay, I know. You know that. Okay, but you start doing this, that's self-talk, and plus you're prejudicing yourself. It's the same reason I went back to Chicago, and the person looking, I just got a patient with muscular dystrophy, horribly, can hardly straighten his arms. Okay, so do I go up and I say, wow, you have a chronic degenerative condition that you're never going to get better, you're going to just eventually be done? No. I got him on a neck curve exercise. I set his C1. He can now move his neck. Okay, he's got this wheelchair that he wants to move with these little levers. Guess what? I'm not prejudicing his outcome. I know that he can actually recover. So we got to change this. I was just diagnosed with cancer or Parkinson's, or, this is crazy. These are the questions you got to ask yourself. Okay, is this true? So you got a blood test that says you might be HIV positive. Or she left you, she was the love of your life, you're never going to love again. Okay, you were just diagnosed with cancer. Okay, I don't care what it is. The worst thing in the world. Ask yourself these. Is it true? Yes, it is true. I do have the diagnosis. Yes, it is true. She did leave. Yes, it is. Okay, could this be a misinterpretation? Well, blood test and test can lie, and honestly, we probably weren't that happy to begin with. Okay, so you can start. And then, do you have all the information necessary to know exactly what this means? So when you ask yourself, because a lot of these things, these diagnoses, are not accurate. And that's what we do on every health talk. We go over to explain how a lot of the things that you think are set in stone are not. Okay, then ask yourself, when you've gone through those, what do you feel when you have this? Okay, what do you feel? What do you experience? What do you become like? What do you behave like? When you own that diagnosis, I'm never going to be loved again. Okay, I have cancer. What's that feeling like? That depression, that anxiety, that hopelessness, that disgust. Okay, that my gosh, we're 100 miles from land. It's 1914. The ship just broke. We're done. It's dark. It's cold. We don't have enough food for this. Okay, so bad, right? Yeah. Then, what if this thought, and don't think I misspelled thought. A great chiropractor used to spell thought that way, so I'm going to spell thought that way. Okay. If that thought didn't exist, how would you feel, behave, or experience? What would you be like? So, you got this idea of cancer, depression, death, cold. Okay, what if you misinterpreted that? What if there was another reason? What if there's a higher meaning? What if there's a better purpose or direction for your life? What if you're going to learn something from this? What if it's a growth experience? Okay, what does it feel like then? Okay, so if you can change your perception of the event, okay, you're going to radically change your system, radically change it. And the whole thing is to change your feelings is the key. If you attach feelings of depression, anxiety, and negativity, and you're able to change it, okay, that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, let's say you have consistent negative feelings with a person. Okay, and this is tough, because if you've been with somebody for a long time, you may develop this. Again, you're going to have your own prejudices. What I want you to do is try saying the antithesis of it. So if you consistently say, well, they're rude. Anybody wearing an orange jacket is just rude. So if I see somebody with an orange jacket, do you think I'm going to be warm, open, and loving? No, by God, I'm expecting rudeness. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be rude to me. Okay, so in order to change that, put I. Not people with orange jacket are rude. I'm rude. Say it with me. Wow, that's powerful. Because it is. It opens you up into realizing, and this is a really cool trick too. If you're communicating with someone and you're frustrating because they just don't listen, they just don't hear you, you don't hear them. Okay, you don't. Okay, so it totally changes it. It opens you up and gets that connection. Once you get that connection, you realize that as long as you're from this planet, we're all family. Okay, and then what's even cooler, when we expand that, as long as you're from this universe, we're all family. And then when you expand that, as long as we're from, this galaxy and we're all family. So, but let's just stick with the planet. That'll be easier. She's not listening. I never listen. Wow. Okay. So see how just that little trick there, that's going to actually invite you. Now, we can do an entire talk on just this alone, okay, on changing self-talk. But here's the guy. MS, 69 years old, MS, multiple sclerosis for 20 years. So if you've had multiple sclerosis for 20 years, your nerves are bad. You can't open and close your hands. You can't even feel stuff. What are you looking forward to being 70? What's 71 going to be like for you? Pretty friggin' bad. Okay. Comes in and he says, I'm just in here for back pain. My sister told me you're good. I just want you to work on the back pain. Don't give me any BS about you fixing my MS. Okay. And that's what he said. I thought that's pretty clever. BS about MS. Okay. I said, no, I know I can fix the back. I'm pretty sure I can help you with the MS too. So guess what? After about 6 weeks, he started to actually feel. He was working in the garden. He's got these gloves. He could feel cold. And then he started to be able to open and close his hands. And now it's like, and this is the before and after x-ray, you can see that his body is realigning. That radically changes sensory input to the brain. But he says that he got his life back. Because why? He didn't own the diagnosis. He didn't own this. He didn't own the disease. Why am I helping him? Because I don't own that either. What's his potential? Why should I prejudice his outcome? Because some guy in a white jacket said he's got multiple sclerosis. Do you know what multiple sclerosis means? It's Latin for many areas of hardening. Now, if a guy said that, yeah, you have many areas of hardening. Okay, yeah, you'd say you're an idiot, Let's stimulate that body and reverse it. So now your perception of the event is everything, not the event. Everything, and I mean everything. So the meaning you give to it. Okay, wow, you were just hit by a car. That means I'm not going to work tomorrow. I got the whole day off. Okay. I'm going to lose my house because I just lost my job. I've always wanted to move. That yard was getting too big to take care of. Okay, so I've got this disease. Wow, I've always wanted to show people that the body could heal. Finally get a chance to take time off. So you start looking at this. It's not the event, it's the meaning that you attach to it. And that is totally in your control. But you change the emotion that you attach to the event, you change the outcome of the event. Wow, I've got diabetes. Okay, great. It takes around 30 to 45 days to recover from that. It's going to radically alter your diet and your energy level. Now, this is huge. If you have a partner that you're not getting along with, some people will stick together with their spouse through thick and pain. I mean, just miserable. And it's not fun for anybody involved. So here's a 90-day challenge. And in this, I didn't have the slide in here when I started this talk, but I talked to a patient and she needed it. Okay, and I said, it's a 90-day challenge. Live for 90 days like your partner was the greatest, most wonderful, most passionate, most attentive, most joyous person that you've ever seen in your life, whether you're getting it reciprocal or not. Try it for 90 days. You know what's going to happen? Either you're going to have the greatest partner you've ever had in your life, the best relationship ever, or you'll be leaving with your head held high because you gave it a really good shot. Okay. Yep. Now, all of this stuff is designed to change and program your mind. And this is where the difference is, because you got a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. The conscious mind sets the goals. The unconscious mind actually gets them done. This is why you do not want to program your brain with the news, or program your brain with violent behavior, program your brain with negative thoughts, because it's you're the part that gets the job done, the unconscious mind. It's not going to be able to handle what you want. Okay, so you change your self-talk. That's going to change the unconscious mind. Can you get someone to change if they don't want to change? I used to say no too. I did. You can get them to change. You can. You just got to find the leverage. You find a guy that's absolutely addicted to tobacco, put a gun to his head and say, look, if you smoke, I'm going to pull the trigger. Some may still smoke, but the majority think they're going to stop? Yeah, because they're going to get a bullet in their head. Okay, so I know it's an extreme example of leverage, but you find out what they're missing, what's more important. Okay, we just had an incident where a father was getting drunk every day, not taking care of his kids. So he's going to lose his kids. Do you think maybe losing the kids might get him over the edge of where he's getting a healthier lifestyle? Perhaps. Okay, that's good leverage. So you can, but start looking at this. What would it take to change? So anything in your life that you're finding that's not, that you're not content with, okay, look at the pleasure of if it was changed and look at the pain if it wasn't changed. I mean, that one we spent a whole day on. Here's a gal that's amazing. She started, her name's Sister Madonna. She started exercising and jogging when she was 48. So she made it almost a half a century without exercising. She ran her first triathlon event at 55. She's still competing. I think she's 83 now, 84. Okay, so what's her limits? They had to change the categories. Nobody's like this anymore. Her mind and her perception of what age is and what health is radically different. She realizes that she can do anything she can think about. And so here's one of the tricks to get it done. And you all have a universal innate intelligence in you, but how do you tap into it? You get a sheet, and this isn't something that you do for a week. You do this in one day. You write down 100 things to do, be, or become. Okay, and this whole thing is to program your brain. This is all it is. We got to program your unconscious. And I mean, it's going to be pretty easy to do 5 or 10 or 20. You know, if you're real creative, you'll hit 30. But you're in a room, you got to write down 100 things. I'm telling you right now, when you get to 60 and 61 and 62, you're going to start to think, I don't know, cooking class in Tuscany? Learn Mandarin? What's that language they speak in the Philippines? Tagalog. Okay, I'm going to learn that. Okay, then you start, and so it starts expanding your mind into the rest of the world. Then next to each one, you put a 1, a 5, or a 10 next to it. So you're going to accomplish this goal in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years. And then you pick the top 5 of each. Okay? The top 5. The top 5 you're going to do in 1 year, the top 5 you're going to do in 5 years, the top 5 you're going to do in 10 years. Okay, and the whole purpose of this is to program your subconscious to make you aware of the world and the limitless behavior of you. Then you build a vision board. This is mine from last year. Okay? Yes, this is what I actually have in my office that I'm looking at. Well, actually, this is the old one. This is last year. So when you look at this, no, I'm not dating Catherine Zeta-Jones, but I like the strength and beauty, and I was raised with blonde girls. Okay, so I like dark-haired girls. Okay, so when you look at this, there's health. My wisdom corner, Yoda. I mean, just be creative. And one of the neat ways to do this is you're not going to get a magazine and cut out pictures. Nobody has magazines anymore. Go on Google Images, type in success, type in health, type in travel, and you're going to get all of these pictures. Just put it on a piece of paper. Okay, and this is what you're going to do to expand your brain, to expand what's possible. Okay, does that make sense? And this is all done to reprogram your brain. I don't care what diagnosis, I don't care what symptoms you got, you change your brain, you're going to change the outcome. This is the old model. There is no such thing as a nucleus that has matter. There's vortexes of energy. Okay, and this is the new quantum model, that if you can change thought, thought can change the outcome. Thought becomes things. It's true. Here's a guy. These are steel in his neck. He fell off the back of a truck, fracturing his neck, quadriplegic. Again, now what is your outcome? And when I presented this to the doctors in Chicago, I said, are you going to prejudice yourself? This is the nerves. These are the nerves that supply the breathing muscle in his hands. He's not supposed to be ever to move his hands again. He's supposed to be a quadriplegic. Are you going to accept that? No or no? No. Hell no. Okay. Because I know he's more energy than matter. I know he is. I know if I take pressure off that brain, we're going to get his maximum recovery. Turns out he can now swing his legs. Every Tuesday night, they go to salute the flag. Last week, he comes in here, and he says, I try and raise my arm. And he raises it this high. Okay. I got to tell you, I'm telling you now and I'm tearing up, okay? That was a couple of weeks ago. And this is, what's his potential? Limitless. Limitless. Okay, this is the new healthcare model. I brought this in last week. We changed this healthcare model because the current one isn't working. Okay, and we start off with an idea that there's an innate, inborn intelligence in every human being. Health is the natural state of the human body. Does this mean health is a natural state of this man? Yes or yes? What's his potential? Full recovery. We're going to work as hard as we can to get everything we can on him. And I'm never going to discount it. I don't care how long it takes. All therapies must be in harmony with the body. That makes sense. Vaccinations will stop because that's ignorant. And anybody that says a vaccination is an immunization, there's no way that you're not immunized. You're not immune to things. It's a barbaric procedure. Medical schools will no longer accept funding from pharmaceutical industry. That just makes sense. Because why? Then they're going to be responsible for health. Wouldn't it be cool if they give 10 people with high blood pressure to each medical doctor? And then they check him in 6 months. If the guy got half of them off of having blood pressure, high blood pressure, I'm not talking about giving them a toxic chemical to force their blood pressure down, but actually help them, then he gets paid. So we pay for outcomes, not for procedures. All healthcare research will be independent. The pharmaceutical industry will be responsible for their product. They're no longer. And all humans will be able to choose their healthcare. Had a mom in today, 4-year-old kid, C-section birth, fully vaccinated, coming down with ADD, attention deficit disorder. The school is going crazy. They can't have her, running around like crazy. So I found pressure on the kid's neck. We're going to be able to help her. Okay, so that's cool. I tell the mom, I say, no vaccines are required to get into school. She said, no, they threatened me. No vaccines are required to get into school. We have all the exemptions. No, it's not true. It's like, I'm telling you right now, here's the exemptions. You don't need them to get into school. And then she says, our next stop is the medical doctor because we got to get something to calm the kid down. And I said, well, they're going to suggest a class 2 narcotic called Ritalin, okay, which is damaging in a growing child. They do suggest at the Montessori schools, the person that started that was a pediatrician. She found a little bit of coffee, which was a stimulant, actually has the opposite effect in the kids. So try a little bit of coffee. She looks at me, she says, oh my gosh, won't coffee stunt their growth? And I'm going, you got a class 2 narcotic or you got a cup of coffee? Okay. Which one's the temporary stopgap? Well, we get the kid healthy. Okay, so affirmations. I'm not kidding. Yes, you're cute, kid. Okay, affirmations. This is what you've got to do. And this is one of the things that we have in here. The difference between affirmations and incantations. When you're looking at it, when you're starting the day, when I'm driving here to work, okay, I'm doing these. I'm shouting these. I know I scare people on the side of the road, okay? I'm connected to the healing power of God. God's energy flows from God through me into my patients. 100% of my patients get that healing energy. They recover. This is what I'm shouting on the way here. When I get here at 5 o'clock in the morning, well, a little bit early, about 4:45, do you think like I'm already ready? Okay, yeah. So it's hard to pre-program your brain. How would you like 9 40-hour weeks extra this year? Where you just have 9. Okay, that's 1 hour a day. You wake up 15 minutes early, get 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at lunch, 15 minutes at dinner, 15 minutes before you go to bed. That's all it requires. You get an hour a day. That's 40, it's 9 40-hour work weeks throughout the year. Okay, that much time. So just taking 15 minutes, just that little bit, just that time that you would normally watch the news or read the newspaper or call up and complain to Uncle Harry. Okay, so do this, okay? And it's where you're going to set goals, where you're going to review totally cool things, okay? Where you're going to visualize, where you're going to go over that list of 100 things to do, be, or become. Just that 15 minutes a day. Is that going to change your mindset? Absolutely it will. Absolutely it will. And you could even do it, but make it limitless. I mean, anything. I mean, what would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you reverse the disease? I just showed you a picture of a pregnant woman who got eliminated a tumor. We're talking about quadriplegics that can start to move. So we're talking the horrific circumstances the world could ever create can be reversed. This guy here, Lou Gehrig's disease. It's horrible. You can't move. Every year you get progressively worse. Okay, I've been working on him for not long, about 8 weeks. About 3 weeks ago, he was actually able to move his hand enough to move his feeding tube out of the way. He can now move his hands up and down like this. He can't open and close them. And we got him on a bicycle now, an automatic bicycle that he's riding for 30 minutes a day. And he can now have more control of his legs because we have leg weights on him. And all of this stuff. So his perception before we started working with him, what do you think waking up in the morning was like? Knowing that you're deteriorating, you're rotting every day. Okay, he's not doing that anymore. So what's his ultimate goal? What's his ultimate? To walk. Yeah, let's get him healthy. Right now, this is a trach tube, which means he's got a machine that's breathing for him part-time. He's actually doing exercises now where he's shutting off the oxygen to it and actually breathing on his own. Okay, he does it for about 2 minutes at a stretch now, about 4 times a day. Cool, huh? I know. So this is what your body needs. We know what your brain needs. You got to set goals. You got to have the vision board. You've got to change your perception and change your self-talk. Okay? You got to get your nervous system checked. You got to have regular exercise. Proper nutrition. This means no chemicals or anything else. Sufficient rest. Prayer and meditation. That's what this whole thing's talking about. It's self-talk. It's what your potential is. It's throwing away labels that other people may have given you because it doesn't exist. You change your perception, you're done. Everything's better. So all of these things are recorded. Now here, what I've got on this is how to do affirmations, how to write them down, affirmation techniques, and things that will negatively affect your brain function called MSG or monosodium glutamate or neurotoxins. Okay? So you're not going to change your brain, you're not going to change your effectiveness, you're not going to change your perception unless you detoxify your system. Okay? Now next week, Janine Stewart's going to be talking about how to detox your body from vaccinations. Yes. Thank you very much.